Do you want to learn how to make chili from scratch at home? Follow along. Chef Chris Holland with Chef Out of Water, and as many of you know, at least locally, I'm also the chef and owner of the Baked Alaska. We are just into our second week of the government mandated shutdown of restaurants and bars here in the state of Oregon. So, in an effort to be productive, I like to bring these cooking videos to you so you can learn a few tricks of the trade and ultimately begin cooking at home during a global pandemic. Today, let's talk about beans. We're going to talk about kidney beans and what we can do with them. Now, beans and legumes are the fruits or seeds of a family of plants called fabaceae. And they are a source of fiber and B vitamins. There are 43 grams of protein in 1 cup of raw kidney beans. That's what we have here. They're a great replacement for meat as a source of a vegetarian protein. So, for all your vegetarians and vegans out there, this one is for you. For those meat eaters, maybe we'll convert a few people to appreciate an alternate source of protein during these times. The health benefits of kidney beans include prevention of cancer, weight loss. They've been known to cure acne, believe it or not. They help to prevent osteoporosis. They can improve your blood sugar control. They're anti-aging. They've been known to lower blood pressure. They help to maintain healthy skin, and they're a healthy option for diabetic patients. Now, as we mentioned before, they're also full of fiber. They can reduce cholesterol, and they're full of iron. They can boost your energy. They're good for your memory, and yes, they're actually good for your kidneys. Typically with dried beans, a lot of folks like to soak them overnight. Now, we're starting out with these dried beans, so we're going to take a bit of a shortcut. All right, so follow along as we go here. Number one, we're going to take this 1 cup of dried kidney beans. It's important to go ahead and kind of soak your beans a little bit first before we start to use them. Okay, regardless of whether or not you soak them overnight or you want to take the shortcut like we're going to take today, it's a very, very similar process. Okay, so we've soaked these in a little bit of water. Okay, we're going to start with that. Now, we're going to take a shortcut. So, we're going to put these right into a pot, like that, okay, into the pot. Okay, we're going to cover these kidney beans with about twice the amount of water than there was kidney beans. So I put 2 cups of water to the 1 cup of kidney beans. All right, go ahead, put that on your stove top. Okay, flick on the heat. And we're going to bring these to a boil. Now, as I mentioned before, a lot of folks want to soak their beans overnight. That's kind of the general rule, if you will. So, put them in a container, cover them with twice the amount of water, put a lid on it or plastic wrap, and throw them in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Then when you pull them out, they'll be ready to cook, do the initial cook. Now, our shortcut is we soaked them in water, we put the beans in a pot, cover them in water, we're going to bring it to a boil, and we're going to just turn the flame off once it boils and let them sit for 1 hour. The water's come to a boil with our initial rapid soak, if you will. Many chefs might argue that you're going to get more flavor out of the kidney beans by doing it this way. But by all means, please soak them overnight if you like. This is the route that we're going to take. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn the flame off. And we're going to let it sit there for the next hour. With these kidney beans, we're going to make a kidney bean chili. All right, so we had the 1 cup of kidney beans. All right, this is the point we're going to gather all our ingredients together and see what we have to work with. I think many of you likely still have onions and celery and carrots and fresh vegetables. So we're going to, along the way, when we get into the cooking process, we're going to add to that kidney beans when they're cooking. We have some split peas. We also have some red lentils, garlic. I have some vine-ripened tomatoes. These need used up, so we're gonna go ahead and put these in there as well. An onion, we got some celery, carrot, a bell pepper, and then at the end of the day, we're gonna garnish our chili with fresh cilantro, right? Along the way, let's also season this with, we have a bit of chili powder, we have some ground coriander, all right, and a bit of cayenne, so we can add a little spice if we like, and then obviously we're gonna season the whole thing towards the end with Chef Daddy salt, all right? So, just stand by, we're still waiting for the beans to soak, and we'll get back to you. Okay, it's been about an hour since we got the beans soaking. We heated them up, we brought it up to a boil and turned it off. So now it's been an hour. What we're really looking for though is there any liquid left, all right? So the bulk of the liquid has been soaked up by the beans. What we're gonna do at this point is go ahead and strain these out. Alrighty. I'm going to strain that initial liquid off. All right, they're getting pretty plump here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and transfer to a larger pot because we're going to need some more water. That one doesn't look quite big enough, so let's transfer there to there. Now, what we're going to do now is add, we started with 1 cup of beans. We're going to add 3 times the amount of water. All right, so 3 cups of water into the pot. We're going to put it back on the stove. We're going to lightly season the beans, just a little bit, all right? Put a little Chef Daddy in there. Just a little bit, all right? And that's where we're at. So we'll bring it back to a boil, and then we'll drop it down to a simmer and just let them cook away. This is going to take up to nearly 2 hours. You know, I just got off the phone with my brother. He said he has an Instapot and apparently can make from soaked beans in a half an hour, bust that out. Honestly, I'm not that familiar with Instapot, but many of you out there have one. So by all means, if you want to take that route, go for it. I would suppose follow the instructions that they suggest on Instapot. But for me, I want to cook this route on a stovetop, all right? So while it is coming up to a boil, and then we're going to drop it down to a simmer, and then we'll get back with you in about an hour. Ultimately, just keep tasting it as you go. Check the texture of the bean. Is it starting to cook? Is it still crunchy? And just use your own judgment as you go. Just grab a spoon and get in there. I'll be back with you real soon. While the beans are simmering, let's go ahead and get our mise en place ready. Remember, place for everything and everything in its place. So we're going to start cutting up our different vegetables, and we'll get those all prepared. So when the beans are done or almost done cooking, about 20 to 30 minutes left, we'll add, at that point, we'll add our red lentils, we'll add our split peas. These are going to take between 20 and 30 minutes to fully cook. And then we'll also go ahead and saute our vegetables and incorporate them into the chili. At that point, we can start seasoning it and finishing it off. All right, so, but in the meantime, let's do a little prep. All right, we have our bell pepper. I showed you one way you can do this, but we could do it this way as well. All right, green bell pepper. Go ahead and cut off the sides here, and that'll leave you with the rest that you didn't want. Set that aside. We'll chuck that in the stock, all right? Might as well keep a vegetable stock going on the stove. All right, now I think I'm gonna cut these at about, just over a 1/4 inch. All right, nice cubes. I'm not adding these right away because I want to still have, with the finished chili, I want to have these vegetables still have a bit of crunch to them. So we're going to just saute them separately when we get there, and then add them in towards the end of the whole process. Okay, so cutting up our bell peppers. And this is just one. We use one kind of medium-sized bell pepper. We're almost there. And remember, don't let the knife control your hand. Your hand should control the knife. All right? So safety first. There's no point in having an incident. Okay, so there's our bell peppers. So we're going to take those, we'll go ahead and put them in their own bowl here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now onion. Let's do an onion. Okay, again, I think that let's have a small dice, approximately 1/4 inch squares of onion. We probably only need about half of this one. I had a red onion. I like them a lot. I want to have different colors, different textures in my chili. So adding a little bit of color using a red onion is nice. I like them a lot. We're going to save the other half for something else. And again, this is going to go in the stock, right? Remember, bring it to the edge of the cutting board. Drag the knife through. Keep your fingers on top, all right? 1/4 inch here as well. Just like that, and just like that. And that's what's left, going to go in the stock, all right? So there's our onions. They're going to go in their own bowl. Okay. Next, grab a peeler. Let's get after this carrot. All right. Peel the outer part of the carrot off. Again, the carrot peel is a wonderful thing to throw in your stock, and you'll be able to use that for various different little projects. All right. Carrot peels go over there. And let's clean that up just a little bit. Okay. Now, I think we only need about a half a carrot. So let's just cut the end off just a little bit. We're going to go right down in the middle. Alrighty. And let's go ahead and we'll cut, just try to end up with somewhat uniform pieces here. Okay. So you can cut these so they're about the same dimension as the onion. Go ahead and just cut it right down the middle of each piece of that. And there we go. Now, we are pretty please asking for comments and feedback on our Facebook page, facebook.com/chef-out-of-water. So we'd love to hear your input, love to hear what you'd like to learn. This particular thought came from my mother. Mom said, hey, I got a bunch of beautiful beans that I got at a local store. Tell me, I'd love to know the best way to work with them from raw. So here we are, Mom. We're making kidney bean chili, start to finish. Okay, now celery, same kind of deal. Let's cut the end off. We're going to cut these about the same. So just go right down the middle. Okay, I think about, let's just use 2 of these at the moment. All right, set that aside. Cut the end of that off. And right down the middle. Okay, we've got them lined up nice and neat. Now you can proceed to chop them. Okay. If you combine carrot, celery, and onion, that would be a classically known as mirepoix. Mirepoix is basically, let's just put it this way, if you had 1 cup of onion, you would want to have 1/2 cup of carrots and 1/2 cup of celery. That is a traditional mirepoix. I want to have a little bit of tomato in this chili. All right, so the tomato, it does a couple of things, believe it or not. The addition of tomato product into a number of different items helps to make the flavor deeper and richer. I'll give you a helpful hint. If you're making burger patties at home, the addition of a little bit of tomato paste will really make your burgers juicier and more flavorful. So try that out sometime, tomato paste. All right, we're gonna cut these tomatoes. They've gotten a little bit soft. They've been here for a few days. So we're gonna cut them up, put them in our chili. As you noticed, I'm gonna use a serrated knife because it'll make it a lot easier to get it all cut up properly. All right, stack those up a little bit. A tomato this soft is going to be hard to cut with a regular knife. So serrated knife will be really helpful. Or if you happen to have what is considered a tomato knife, well, there you go. I would say you're winning. We can use the whole thing, right? So besides the stem, go ahead and cut up the tops as well. And that's what's left. All we got left is just that little bit that's going to go in the stock. What do you have laying around? You don't have to have exactly what I'm doing. Make this your own. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. We're going to go ahead and add another cup of water to this. The beans they're getting more tender, but they're still a little bit crunchy. So we're just going to add another cup of water and let it continue to simmer away. Our beans are getting really close. They're getting tender. I would say within about 20 minutes, they're going to be fully cooked. Really the way to know, I can tell you 2 hours, I can tell you 1 hour, but you really need to just taste them as we go. So at this point, what I'm going to do is add an additional cup of water. We're going to add our red lentils into the pot. We're going to add our split peas into the pot. All right, we'll bring that back to a simmer and let that cook for about 20 minutes. In the meantime, we'll start to saute all of our vegetables and add them into the chili. Again, this is it's kind of important to just really pay attention to your chili as it's cooking away. Now, I think, again, not fully cooked water is nearly simmered away. Again, let's add another cup of water. Okay, we're about, an hour and 20 minutes into this whole project here, making chili from kidney beans during a global pandemic. What we're going to do now is we're going to get an even bigger pot. We're going to start cooking our vegetables. We're going to go ahead and set our beans aside for a moment. Get the vegetables on the stove top on about a medium-high flame. Okay, we're going to coat the bottom of the pan just a little bit with some olive oil. Okay, we're going to kick this off now put some carrots. We got our celery. We got our onions. Okay, bell peppers. Garlic. Okay, we're just going to get this kind of sauteing in the pan here. We're going to really develop some flavor for our finished product. Okay, get that guy. We're going to just kind of give it a stir here. Nice stir. All right, so at this point, go ahead and stir that. We're going to cook that for about 2-3 minutes. Then we're going to add our beans and a little more water. Okay, all right, it's been about 3 minutes or so. The vegetables get sauteed down a little bit. I want to go ahead and just season them. Put a little chef daddy in there. Okay, season the vegetables, give them another stir. All right, now go ahead and grab your pot of beans. I'm going to add that in to the big pot. I tell you, we're certainly making chili for a couple of days here. It's pretty amazing. We started with only 1 cup of kidney beans, and for myself, like my family, there's 3 of us. Like, we're gonna have this kidney bean chili for days, I think, at this point. All right. Okay. Now, we're gonna add a little more water. At this point, I'm gonna add 2 cups of water. This should get us right to the finish line. The beans are close. They're kind of al dente now. We want them to kind of break down a little further. The lentils, as well as the split peas. And go ahead and add 2 cups of water. Go ahead and give it a stir. Get real close. That looks pretty darn good. To incorporate the most amount of flavor during this last 10 or 15 minutes, let's go ahead and add a little bit of chili powder. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of chili powder in there. I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon or so of dried coriander, and about a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. All right. Also, at this point, go ahead, throw the tomatoes in the pot. So again, this is really going to help add some richness to the finished product. Tomatoes really bring out all the flavors. Okay, so give that all a little stir, and we're going to let it cook down just a little bit longer. All right, so let that come up to a simmer, and then just leave it there and let it cook for another 10 minutes or so. All right, we've gotten down to the nitty gritty of the chili. All right, it's one last thing to do. It's real good. It's the beans are tender, they're starting to fall apart, as well as the lentils. We still have a little bit of a crunch in the vegetables. What you want to do now is give that a taste. Oh, it is wonderful. I'm just gonna season it one last time to taste. Okay, just give that one more little taste now. That was really wonderful. So, as I mentioned, we made too much, but that's okay. You know, eat what you're gonna have for dinner, cool the rest down in the refrigerator, okay? It's gonna actually even intensify in flavor. This chili will be better tomorrow when we go and heat it up, and all the flavors are gonna really marry together. But at this point, let's go ahead and give it a, okay, give it a ladle. We're gonna put our fresh cilantro. As you probably noticed, while everything was cooking, I cleaned it all up. The kitchen's clean. We can move on. We did it while that was cooking away. And here is our finished product. Right here, we've been making kidney bean chili during a global pandemic.